Hello, and welcome to today's information session with the Mayo Clinic. My name is Werner Petzold. I'm an employer outreach specialist at the University of Arizona Global Campus. We're excited you could join us today to learn about exciting career opportunities with the Mayo Clinic. And before I turn the floor over, I want to go over a few housekeeping items. This webinar is being recorded. For all those who registered for today's information session, the recording will be emailed to you in a few days. We will take time to answer as many questions as possible during and at the end of the presentation. At the bottom of the screen is a Q&A button. You can submit questions with your name or anonymously to be answered live. We will do our best to get as many questions as we can answered, of course. However, if your question is not answered by the end of the presentation, you can email it to careerservices@uagc.edu. We will follow up with the Mayo Clinic to get any remaining questions answered. Also, feel free to engage in the chat. You can pose questions in the chat, and members of the Career Services team will be available to help answer questions throughout the presentation. If you have any technical difficulties, we recommend logging out of Zoom and logging back in. Now, I would like to introduce our guest employer. Joining us today is Eddie Ubuji. He is an experienced professional with over 10 years of experience in human resources management within the healthcare and higher education sectors. Holding a doctorate in management and organizational leadership, Eddie brings a wealth of knowledge and expertise to his current role as diversity recruitment specialist at the Mayo Clinic. Eddie plays a pivotal role in fostering diversity and inclusion within the organization by actively engaging in recruitment efforts aimed at attracting a diverse pool of talent. He manages initiatives to cultivate relationships with two-year colleges and universities, ensuring the Mayo Clinic's brand appeals to diverse student populations. Additionally, Eddie is instrumental in fostering partnerships with professional associations in colleges, further amplifying Mayo Clinic's commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion. As diversity recruitment specialist, Eddie develops and implements innovative strategies geared to attract, retain, and advance diverse talent with Mayo Clinic's workforce. His efforts not only contribute to building a more inclusive workplace culture, but also enhance Mayo Clinic's ability to deliver exceptional healthcare services to diverse patient populations. With an extensive background in human resources management and a profound understanding of organizational dynamics, Eddie is dedicated to advancing diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives with Mayo Clinic and beyond. His leadership and strategic vision play a vital role in ensuring the Mayo Clinic remains at the forefront of fostering a diverse and culturally competent workforce. Eddie, we are excited to hear your presentation, and thank you for joining us today. We will go ahead and turn it over to you.
Thank you, Werner, and I hope the audience can see me. And thank you for the introduction, but let me try and see if I can share my screen with the group. I hope it can be seen. All right, great. Well, thank you, participants, and welcome to this info session. Based on the introduction by Werner, as a diversity recruitment specialist, I recognize that true inclusivity goes beyond recruitment numbers. Indeed, it requires a culture of belonging where every individual feels valued and respected. So for me, by leveraging my expertise in diversity recruitment and fostering meaningful connections with education and professional communities, I contribute to Mayo Clinic's mission of providing compassionate, high-quality care to our patients by ensuring I bring in candidates who put our patients first in their line of duties. That said, I'm excited to be at this information session, and I have, and also say that I have the privilege to showcase the Mayo Clinic brand. Mayo Clinic is a nonprofit organization committed to clinical practice, education, and research, and providing expert whole person care to everyone who needs healing. You will notice the Mayo logo has 3 shields to represent each of those areas. Our major campuses are in Rochester, Minnesota, Scottsdale and Phoenix, Arizona, and Jacksonville, Florida, along with health system clinics and hospitals spread across the Midwest. Mayo Clinic's vision is to be recognized by patients, employees, healthcare institutions, and the community as the leading model for diversity and inclusion. All staff at Mayo are guided by our primary value. The needs of the patient come first in all that we do. Actually, we live by additional values of mutual respect, honesty and integrity, compassion for the patient and each other, healing, teamwork, innovative problem solving, striving for excellence in everything we do, and stewardship. These values are known by every employee at Mayo, and all decisions that we make, from high-level leadership to those providing direct care or offering support in non-visible ways, we have the primary goal of helping our patients. We aim to care with excellence, have a workforce that reflects our community, and develop talent with opportunities for career advancement and health equity. Few things I want to share with you about Mayo. You may or may not know, we are one of the largest healthcare organizations in the US with over 80,000 employees. This year alone, over 1.2 million people from all 50 states and 138 countries came to Mayo Clinic for care. Our teams are made up of physicians, reputable scientists, residents, fellows, and allied health and other staff that support clinical and non-clinical areas within the Mayo enterprise. As you can see from the logos on this slide, we are honored to have been recognized by the US News and World Report as the #1 hospital overall. Mayo Clinic is also ranked high in the annual Diversity Inc. ranking of the top 50 companies for diversity. Mayo was also ranked #3 among the top hospitals and healthcare systems for diversity. Mayo is also very well committed to hiring people with disabilities and as well as our veterans. Just like most other organizations, we offer competitive benefit packages that are designed to change with you as your career evolves. We know that when Mayo Clinics take care of you, you can take care of our patients. So the details of this can be found at mayoclinic.org/benefits. A few benefits I'd like to highlight include our paid time off and pension plan. I don't know how many other companies that still offer pensions. Just for those who may not know, a pension plan is a retirement plan in which the employer makes contributions to a pool of funds set aside for an employee's future benefit. Additionally, Mayo offers the 403B and 401k plans with employer match for contributions made by the employee. You manage your paid time off or PTO for vacation time, holidays, and personal time. And if you're never sick, you can use your PTO for vacation time. How cool is that? Another interesting benefit is the Career Investment Program, which we call CIP. It provides Mayo staff the opportunity to build skills or learn new skills that help them advance their careers in critical roles. This program works directly with a variety of academic institutions and various departments through Mayo Clinic to offer certificate and degree programs from associate degree to doctorate that align with our organization's needs. This comes at no additional cost to eligible staff members of Mayo. Another benefit is the Mayo Employee Resource Groups. We call it MARGE. These are organized groups that form around a common dimension of diversity and belonging. For instance, we have MARGE groups at each site, including African descendants, Latinos, LGBTQ+, veterans, persons with disability, and many more Mayo employee resource groups. So overall, we have about 35 Mayo employee resource groups across the enterprise. At Mayo Clinic, we have over 3,000 distinct careers. There are plenty of jobs and employees who work directly with patient care or indirectly in other administrative capacities. Oftentimes people think Mayo is all about doctors and nurses, but we do have administrative jobs. We do have regular corporate jobs like most other organizations. So as you can see on this slide, there are opportunities for administrative assistants, research technologists, registered nurses, and IT analysts. And if you want to even know more, we encourage you to, you can see also on the screen, to apply and learn more about Mayo jobs at jobs.mayoclinic.org. And during the question and answer session, we can always provide this in the chat for you. It is important to learn how to navigate our career sites. Using keyword search is one way to explore the career site. Let's, for example, use the word technologist. If you get into the search by role or keyword and you type in technologist, this search will pull clinical lab technologists, research technologists, and other technology-related positions. So using one word in your search allows you to discover a broader range of posted careers. Another way to search broadly would be to leave both the key role or keyword and the location blank. When you do that, you receive the list of postings. You can then narrow the search by applying filters like your area of interest, or if you want to work remotely or hybrid. You can also explore our career areas and learn more about our physicians and supporting healthcare professionals on the website as well. If you are unfamiliar with a career, say you, for example, you can make up your mind what area you think your skills and expertise fits in, this section here, also if you type in just about anything, can be very helpful. So for more ways to connect, check out our events calendar. Sometimes when you type in some of this information, it takes you to our event calendar. And as you will see, we have jobs that range, like I told you, from administrative assistant to project managers, clinical technicians, clinical research coordinators. So all these people, like I say, it takes a small city of these individuals with various skills and roles to run the nation's #1 multi-specialty hospital. We usually encourage you, the applicant, to join the talent community by signing up on our talent community site. If you don't do anything else after this info session, I highly recommend that you go ahead and connect with us through the talent community. What this does is that once you connect with us and you have, expressed desire or intent in areas of interest, automatically every month or whenever this goes out, such positions that you're interested in or that you have indicated interest in is sent to you on regular basis without you even having to search for it. Now, to our application process, and I know a lot of questions are, people ask this question, what's your application process? How long does it take and stuff like that? If you take a look at the visual right on the screen, mayoral employment process do take some kind of steps needed to advance from application to the interview step. Typically, after a position is posted and applications are received, the recruiter screens the application, and then top qualified applicants are forwarded to the hiring manager, who in turn reviews and determines who is invited for an interview. This, just like any other organization, this process can take several weeks, but I just want to assure you that our system notifies the candidates as the application moves through the process. And still on the application process, I want to share something that's very important. If you're applying for a position, let's say, for example, we're going to use what I have on the screen, a clinical research coordinator position. We recommend first, as an applicant, that you review the job responsibilities to identify what tasks you would be doing. You see, this information can also be helpful when applying to the position, since you would want to customize your resume using information from the job posting. As you read this posting, you ask yourself what technical or soft skills might be important for you to add onto your resume. If you look at some of the responsibilities, stated, you can actually extract some of the information, tweak it to fit into your own resume, and you can put some of those skills, on your resume. Things you want to emphasize, for example, may include your competency in a variety of equipment usage and your knowledge in technology. How familiar are you with safety guidelines for yourself and patients? How can you foster teamwork through communication skills? So these are opportunities for you on your resume to market yourself and let the hiring manager or the recruiter know ahead of time what you're bringing to the table. So it is actually the applicant's responsibility to verify other things besides just the job responsibilities. Mayo being a multi-specialty hospital, we hire people from all over the world. Beyond the shores of the United States, we have hospitals in Europe, we have hospitals in South America, we have hospitals in Asia and in the Middle East. And as a result of that, people from all walks of life and different countries apply. So if you're applying and you're not a US citizen, it is your responsibility to ensure that the position you're applying to, whether they do offer sponsorship, visa sponsorship or not. There are just very few positions in research, for example, that do offer sponsorship, for immigrants. But these are very limited positions, and that's why it's very important that you know the job you're applying to. And oftentimes on our job description, we put it there. This position does not offer visa processing or any kind of immigration privilege to the candidates. So it's more typical for us to believe that applicants would have secured their sponsorship before starting a position at Mayo Clinic or may have their immigration status fit into what that job requires before they ever apply. So always refer to the posting for such information for the position you're applying to. Well, still on application process, and the emphasis on this slide is that it's critical that you understand why we're emphasizing on the application process, because people have asked, I have applied many times, nobody seemed to, they keep rejecting me. And that's because maybe folks are not paying close attention to some of these processes. On the screen, let's review the qualification and certifications that this particular position is asking for. Often, I recommend candidates review the qualifications first. If you don't meet the basic qualifications, we don't recommend you apply, because our applicant tracking system is going to look into that. Our recruiters are going to screen that, and the hiring manager is going to review that before you are called for an interview. So if you're not qualified and you just say, okay, I'm just going to apply, it's not going to happen, because you're going to go through those 4 processes before you are called for an interview. For example, in this clinical research coordinator, it requires minimum education or experience. As you can see, there's emphasis on high school diploma, but with 5 years of clinical research, coordination, or related experience. That is a requirement. That you may have high school diploma does not mean you can apply, but their expectation is that you must have had 5 years of clinical research somewhere, maybe in a lab, maybe Sonora Quest, maybe LabCorp, somewhere, to show, in addition to your high school, that you have worked in a lab setting, and it must be at least 5 years. Or you must have an associate degree or a college diploma or certificate program with at least 3 years of experience. So that's the next level. If you have high school diploma, they expect you to have at least 5 years of experience. If you have an associate degree, they expect you to have at least 3 years of experience. And candidates with an associate degree or clinical research from an accredited academic institution without experience, or a bachelor's degree, but that someone with a bachelor's degree with 1 year of experience can also apply for this position. So you can see, the more education or experience you have, the less the requirements. So in this case, if you have a bachelor's degree, maybe in the sciences, of course, with 1 year of experience, and with the understanding that while you're at Mayo, you would complete Mayo-sponsored clinical research internships for 1 year, you can apply. So overall, Mayo is looking for clinical experience and your education as requirements for positions. There may be additional qualifications that are preferred. These are preferred qualifications, but they are not required. So if you don't have the additional qualifications, we encourage you to apply. And you can see some of those there. And then this is what I talked about visa sponsorship, that sometimes, not sometimes, in all our job descriptions, and job postings, we do emphasize whether we do sponsor that particular position or not. Other details you may see on the posting include pay and schedule details. So as you're applying for a particular position, this is specifically for the research coordinator position, take your time to review the compensation details and the schedule. Here are some tips you need to know. It is not unusual to apply to 10 jobs before you secure an interview at Mayo. So we suggest to applicants to, 1, modify their resumes to match the skills listed on the job posting as closely as they can by using keywords phrases, and other references that highlight the skills, education, and the experience they possess that fit into the requirements of that position. Another tip is cover letters. They are very important because they allow a candidate to add to the experiences and background covered in their resume. A strong cover letter should introduce you to the hiring team, express your interest in the position, address how your skills and past work experiences directly correlate to the position you're applying for. You need to apply for each job you are interested in. Again, remember, Mayo has 3 sites. We have Florida, Rochester, in Minnesota, and then, of course, Arizona. So each of those sites may need different positions. I mean, may have the same positions, but they're in different sites. So if you want, for example, to apply for the clinical research coordinator in Arizona, but you're also interested in relocating to Florida or to Rochester, Minnesota, you can apply to all the 3 sites. If you like to be considered for all of them, you must apply to each of them separately. So the time frame for hiring process will vary by each position that you apply to. And if you have specific question or need assistance, you can also reach out to our HR Connect at the phone provided on the screen, 507-266-0440. Now, let's take a look at what gets you to the recruiter's table or the hiring manager's table. Your resume. People get some kind of, cold feeling when it comes to resume. They don't know how to go about it. But I just want you to know that resume is both an art. It's an art. It's not really science, because it showcases who you are. And by the way, how many of you have a resume ready to apply to jobs right away after this session? You can respond in the chat. But let's get into it and let's see some of the tips and some of the strategies you may need in writing your resume. First, it's very important to remember that resume writing, again, like I said, is an art, it's not science. Most candidates' resumes do not need to be the same, and you may even receive different advice from professionals on suggested edits to your resume. There's nothing wrong with that. But here are some key tips and information that every resume should have. It's important to include the basic elements such as your contact information, your education, and work experience. You can also incorporate your technical skills and strengths into the experience section. You see, the order in which you list your education and experience can change depending on the position to which you're applying. One, also depending on whether you're writing a functional resume or chronological resume. And the difference between these two are, if you are straight out of college or high school, your resume is definitely going to be different from someone who has 4, 5, 6 years or more years of experience. So you want to tailor your resume. If, for example, you just left college with maybe minimum experience, you want to emphasize more on your education, that I have a bachelor's degree or I have a master's degree, and I have this number of years as an intern. So you want to bring those up front so that the recruiter and the hiring manager is not searching for it. He or she knows right away, this is someone who just left college, but has done a year or so many months of internships in different organizations. I will also suggest having your application materials proofread for language and grammar, as this is your first impression. So when you write your resume, find a friend or some professional somewhere to review it and proofread if you have any grammar errors or if it's not well formatted. And if you don't have a resume and you're wondering how to go about it, the first thing to do is to start brainstorming and listing some accomplishments. It's important to match the required skills from the job posting with skills you have acquired through work or volunteer experiences. Let's take a look at this position description and see how you can glean some information from it and kind of paste it on your resume. In this example, we have a description for a certified nursing assistant. A few keywords that are highlighted are elderly resident and direct care duties, professional. Now, it will be important for you as an applicant to show that you have experience working with the elderly and that you can provide personal care duties. It doesn't necessarily mean you must work in a nursing home or in a hospital. If a candidate, for example, work experience is with children in a daycare or in an education setting, the candidate could translate this experience to this position since it will be similar. A recruiter reviewing your resume will look at those keywords within your work experience that tie to the job posting. So it's very important you critically assess the job description and ask yourself, what have I done in the past that relates to this job position and that aligns with the experience and skills they are looking for? Still on resume, it sounds in today's world that cover letters are things of the past, but some organizations still, like to read cover letters from candidates or applicants. So, a cover letter serves several important purposes in the job search process because it enables you to introduce yourself, customize your application, showcase your fit for the position and company, address any concerns, demonstrate your communication skills, and express your enthusiasm for the opportunity that you're applying to. Before you start writing your cover letter, take some time to thoroughly research the organization you're applying to by learning as much as you can about its corporate goals and vision. Then use your cover letter to explain how you will positively contribute to their team by highlighting the unique skill sets and relevant knowledge and experience you bring to them. A strong cover letter should introduce you to the hiring team, expressing your interest in the position and addressing how your skills, abilities, and past work experiences directly correlate to the position you're applying for. You can set yourself apart from other applicants by crafting a very compelling opening paragraph. Start by stating your strongest selling point and interesting industry statistics that you know, or any relevant quotes. Again, no one cap fits all. All I'm just saying, use your own creative style to determine how you want to, showcase your cover letter. For us at Mayo, hiring managers at Mayo Clinic read hundreds of cover letters. So make it brief, let it be well polished, let it demonstrate not only do you understand what you're looking for, but that you also can communicate well and also understand Mayo culture. And you can find all those information by going on our website and researching on Mayo. And the big one is when you have applied and you've been screened, you've been chosen, you're one of the privileged chosen one. The next thing is the interview. So I want to emphasize again, it is very important to take time to prepare for that job that you have spent time, you've done your application, you wrote your cover letter, you waited patiently for that phone call, and then the interview time is scheduled. You need to take time to also prepare for that interview. And there are several ways hiring managers and recruiters, conduct interviews. But one of the most used technique is called the behavioral interview. It assesses a candidate's past actions to predict their future performance. In these interviews, I'm talking about behavioral interview, candidates share examples of how they handle specific situations. They emphasize relevant skills and competencies that they have. So behavioral interviews differ, or is different from traditional ones in their questioning approach. While traditional interviews cover general topics like, hey, tell me about your strengths, what are your weaknesses, and some hypothetical scenarios, behavioral interviews zero in on specific past experiences. Tell me, if you were in this situation in the past, what did you do to get out of it? And how did you deal with that? How did you solve the problem? That's what behavioral interview is all about. And so we're going to dig deeper into that. At Mayo Clinic, one of the techniques used by our hiring teams to evaluate a candidate during an interview is the SHARE model, SHARE, which is a very powerful style used in behavioral interviews to assess a candidate's interpersonal skills, problem-solving abilities, teamwork, and adaptability. It provides a structured approach for crafting effective responses. So the SHARE stands for one, situation, describe the context or task you faced. That's what the S question reflects. The H is hindrance. Explain to the hiring manager or recruiter any challenges or obstacles you encountered in the course of, maybe trying to solve a problem. The A there is for action. You want to share the steps you took to address the situation. What did you do? Results, which is the R in the SHARE model. It highlights the outcomes of your actions, because in a real life situation, people want to see you go through these issues. You're going to have problems, challenges. What did you do? How did you overcome it? How did you, address the situation? What was the outcome of your action? Because we want to see solution at the end of the day. Then the E is evaluate. Now, most people, even when they answer the question using the SHARE model, they always end up with SHAR. They forget the E. You describe the situation, you explain the challenges, you share the steps you took to address it, and you said this was the outcome, but you don't reflect on what lessons you learned and how you might improve in the future, and that's very important. So always make sure you go through these 4 steps, the SHARE. Remember, practicing with real examples using the SHARE model can help you ace your next interview. Still on the interview, and perhaps the final slide, I can't emphasize enough on preparing for an interview. Don't take anything for granted. Don't feel, well, I've been called, so I must be the best. You are probably one out of the 10 best persons picked for the interview, and the position is only for one person. So you want to prepare for it. You want to prepare for an interview. It's very crucial for the candidate to make a very positive impression, and in order to increase their chances of success at the interview. So here are just a few key steps to help you get ready. And I'm not saying this is all encompassing. It's just some of the steps that I have picked up being a recruiter myself, and also at some point being a hiring manager. What I would suggest you do is, when you are called for that interview and you got that letter, research the company, dive into the company's background. What's their mission? What are their values? What recent thing have they done that's in the news? Understand their products or services. What's the organization's culture and other specific projects they are working on? The reason for the research on that company's background is that one of the panelists could just throw a question: tell me what you know about Mayo Clinic. And if you didn't do that research, it will be, you will develop a cold field, and that might be the beginning of the failure for you, because that to them will be some of the simplest thing they expect you to have done. If you're interested in something, if you want to buy a car, you research on the car, you research on the model, you don't research if they have problems and a lot. So you don't just walk in and buy a car. So if they ask such simple question that, tell me what you know about Mayo, and you can't answer it, that spells doom. Another step is analyze the job. Carefully review the job description over and over and over again. Identify the qualifications, skills, and qualities that they seek in an ideal candidate. Remember, like I said, you're probably 1 out of 10 other best candidates that they call for the interview, and they only have position for 1 person. You want to prove you are the best of those 9, 10 persons. So these are some of the steps you have to take to prove to them and to others that you are the best candidate. So make sure you align your experiences with the job description. Practice, practice, practice. Prepare answers for common interview questions. There are some questions that you know for sure they will ask you. Tell me about yourself. What are your weaknesses? What are your strengths? Why should we hire you? What makes you think you're the best fit for this job? These questions may or may not come, but oftentimes most hiring managers and recruiters will always ask those questions. So you can practice those questions on your own and provide answers to yourself. Again, while you're doing that, remember the behavioral interview techniques, the share model. Always remember to know the situation. What was the challenge that you faced? What action did you take? What was the outcome? And what lessons did you learn from that scenario? So always remember the share model. Again, one other important thing that candidates take for granted. I know we live in a world today where people are free to dress however they want, but it's very important to always plan the clothes you're going to wear and dress, like a business professional, unless the company says otherwise. Even if they do, you still want to appear like a professional. Choose a professional clothing that aligns with the company's culture. Dress appropriately, show respect and attention to detail. And finally, prepare to ask questions, because at the end of the day, the hiring manager and recruiters want to know if you have a question for them or for the team or about the company. It shows that interview is a dialogue. It's not a one-way traffic. So you want to make sure and prove to the people that, hey, I have some concerns about your organization. What is it about their culture? Well, how do you build teams? Just do your research. Craft a very thoughtful questions to ask the interviewers. This will demonstrate your interest and engagement, that you're paying attention to this company. And you can consider asking them about team dynamics. What are the growth opportunities? What are the chances of me moving to the next level in about 2 or 3 years? And also ask, what are the company's vision? So these are some of the things you can do. And another tip I want to give is practice mock interviews. You can practice in front of a mirror, read out those question and answers to yourself and see what you look like, what your body language is like, and how you're reacting. Or find a friend and say, hey, you be the hiring manager, I'm the candidate looking for the job, and practice. Prepare. When you practice very well, you build confidence in yourself. And finally, know your resume, because sometimes hiring managers can say, yeah, I've gone through your resume. Can you tell me again all about your job experiences based on what you stated on your resume? If you don't know your resume from A to Z and you're rambling from the beginning to the end and in between, it doesn't show cohesion. So you want to know your resume. You want to know the first job you had. You want to know the second job you had. You want to know the third job you had, because of that, and why, you are interested in this job. So you need to know your resume. So that said, I want to say that we have come to the end of this session, and I really want to thank you for the privilege of your time. Please stay connected with us by reaching us at Workforce Development at mayo.edu, or you can use the QR code. Once you scan that QR code, it opens up an email to our team, and you can send us emails and ask your questions. And please remember to also follow Mayo Clinic on Mayo Clinic page on Handshake. And let me know if you have any questions.
Thank
Over
you,
to you now,
Eddie.
Warner.
Yes, thank you, Eddie. Absolutely wonderful, informative presentation. I wasn't aware that you had hospitals overseas, so that was very enlightening. I didn't know you had 80,000 people that worked for the Mayo Clinic. That is absolutely amazing. So much amazing information presented here today, and I'm sure the students and the graduates that are attending are also hearing this. So that's really great. So regarding those questions and answers, I'm going to go ahead and start now. I have a few that were sent to us, and I'm going to go ahead and take a look at these. So first of all, one of the questions I wanted to ask too, because a lot of us, Eddie, know that there's a lot of medical type roles that the Mayo Clinic would typically recruit for. And it's obvious if you go to your careers page when you see those. So I wanted to go ahead and emphasize just in this question alone to kind of give them an idea when it comes to like roles in project management and organizational management, what have you seen at the Mayo Clinic over the years?
Very interesting question. We do have, because Mayo is a hospital, and we deal a lot or depend a lot on technology. So the roles of project management and information technology go hand in hand, and we are never short of positions that we recruit for in those spaces. So to answer your question, yes, we do have openings in those areas. The responsibility, though, it's back to the applicant, because we have three, like I said, three sites here in the US. And so you want to go into our career site and find out which of these sites are hiring in those areas. You may not see that position in the Scottsdale, Phoenix area, but you might find plenty in Rochester. And then if you're interested in relocating or working remotely, you can apply in those areas. Also, maybe it's in Florida. So the fact that you didn't find one position in one site doesn't mean it doesn't exist in another. But to answer your question, yes, we do have a lot of openings for our project management and IT roles.
I absolutely appreciate that, Eddie. So what do you recommend? Because obviously sometimes these students won't have experience. So now they're looking at the job descriptions and they're saying, hey, how do I get this experience? So what do you recommend for students and graduates to get the experience and then apply?
Well, by the time you have graduated college, whether it's bachelor's or master's, my hope and expectations are that you must have done some level of internships or externships anywhere. And those are the things you want to emphasize on. And that's true. Mayor is always looking for highly experienced individuals. And there's no way at bachelor's level you would have had 5 years of experience in that area. But I try to ask people, do you want to get your foot in the door first? Or do you want to wait for 5 years when you have that experience to apply at Mayo? So what I suggest, and I'm not saying you must follow this, that's my own strategy. If I'm a bachelor's major in data analytics, for example, and I saw positions in either Florida or Rochester or Scottsdale, and all those positions are asking for 3 years. And in my internships, it's only been 9 months, and that's all I have to offer. That's what I have under my belt. I would want to step into that space. I can look for an administrative position that requires maybe a high school and, just to get my foot in the door. Now, when you get in, after some, at least you would be within that position for 1 year at Mayo. But if you are a rock star and you are an overperformer or an overachiever, within 6 months, you can have a discussion with your leader that actually the area I'm interested in is in data analytics. I have a bachelor's degree in data analytics. It makes it easier internally to walk things through for you to see the opportunities that are open. It would have been different if you were saying, oh, well, I'll wait till I have 3 years or 5 years before I can apply. But that's just another strategy that I suggest to people. I'm not saying it works all the time, but it works for some people. Get your foot in the door.
It's a great strategy. Absolutely. I mean, getting your foot in the door is very important for certain. So another question here is what training or mentorship programs, kind of related, are available to new hires to succeed?
Absolutely. Great question. Just like most organizations, and I'll be very specific about Mayo, we're very particular about our onboarding process. Your first 90 days, you're going through a lot of trainings, on-the-job training. You have a buddy, someone who is, call it best buddies, someone who is very experienced, or a mentor that's going to be aligned with you to show you the ropes, guide you. Not only about the job, the culture, how you can navigate your way through the job. So through those onboarding processes, there's always going to be someone to guide you. Besides, we also have a learning management system, within Mayo, workforce development, where you can go, say, for example, you are fresh from college and you're a business analyst. Of course, you don't have all the experience and you don't have all the education required. You can go to those learning centers and look at modules. It could be through Udemy, it could be through all other third-party organizations that Mayo has paid for. And you can do self-learning on your own, in addition to the guidance you're getting from your mentor.
This is a really good one, and we often ask this. And being you work at the Mayo, we're looking for inside information, if you will, Eddie, regarding this is always asked. Like what specific qualities and attributes are you looking for candidates so they're competitive when they do apply? And I know you mentioned some of them in the past, and we appreciate you doing that. But just kind of like what is it that you look for so that, yeah, this is a really good candidate. We need to follow up on this individual.
Very, very good question. And I think I did mention it during the, presentation. Our patients come first. Whether you're working directly with patients or indirectly with patients, your relationship with Mayo affects the patients. You don't have to be a nurse. You don't only have to be a nurse to have affinity with that patient. If you are a business analyst, the requirements you write you must have the patient in mind first. That's our customer. So that's the first thing we want to see. Because questions will be tailored to see how you are talking about customer relationships. So in this case, because the product we market is hospitality, how we serve human beings, how we save lives. So questions will be tailored that way to see how you react, if you care, if you have empathy for patients. Then we want the can-do attitude, even if you don't know it. Always give the impression I'm willing to learn. I'll look for mentorship. I'll look for guidelines. If I don't have the answer, I'll go research for it. People want to see can-do attitude in you. And if you are also coming to the table with a teamwork skill, that I like to work with people. I want to collaborate. If you're using languages that emphasize, teamwork, belonging. I value my teammates. I like to be empowered. I'm very creative. I want to be able to make decisions, Things like that are words that leaders or hiring managers want to hear when they are interviewing you, other than I have a bachelor's degree or I have MBA, I have, I've interned at Pfizer or here. Those are great, but when you are talking to them, they want to hear from you who you are and what you want to bring to the table. And those are the kind of words you want to always throw out there. I'm a very collaborative person. I like to work in a team setting and so on and so forth. Showcase that you are a can-do person.
Thank you for that insight, Eddie. That's really great to hear. Absolutely. I have a couple of questions here from individuals that were commenting about certain things. One of the questions that was brought up was, when it comes to the Mayo Clinic and as far as applying to jobs, are you saying that when it comes to applying, do you require a cover letter for all the jobs when you're applying, or?
No, there was a disclaimer when I started. I said cover letters seem to be old-fashioned now.
Exactly.
Most people
I think
don't.
that's why they're asking. Yeah.
Yes, most organizations don't. But I said, but some of our hiring managers and recruiters to read those cover letters. It might be that might be one of your own, one step ahead of the crew.
Yeah.
10 other people are applying for a position. Let's assume 8 did not put their cover letter, and you're one of the 2 persons that put a cover letter there, and that kind of tickles the fancy of the hiring manager. It could make a whole world of difference. I don't think that just to answer the question that all positions require that you provide a cover letter. It's not required, but maybe it's preferred, And again, if you're applying for a high level position, a mid-management position, I think I would suggest and recommend that you write a cover letter. Cover letter shouldn't be an essay, it should just be 1 or 2 or 3 paragraphs, because the hiring manager doesn't have time to read 1 page or 2 pages of cover letter. Just write very important, powerful, compelling story about yourself in 1 or 2 paragraphs and add it to your application. It might help, yes, but it's not required.
Thank you so much, Eddie. We really appreciate it. So it looks like we're at time here. So I just wanted to go ahead and wrap up and just let everybody know, if you want to connect with the Mayo Clinic and other organizations that are actively hiring for full-time positions and internships, please log into Handshake through your student portal. We recommend checking Handshake and UAGC Connect regularly for career services events. You will receive a follow-up email with a link to this recording and information about careers at the Mayo Clinic. If you have any questions for the career services team on your resume, cover letter, or job search, please email careerservices@uagc.edu or log into Handshake through your student portal to explore more resources. Many thanks again to Eddie at the Mayo Clinic for joining us today. And many thanks to you, our students and graduates, for attending UAGC. Please take 1 minute to hang on. At the close of this information session, you'll be directed to complete a quick confidential survey. Your responses will guide us in planning future employer information sessions, career fairs, and events. If you're unable to complete it now, the survey will be emailed to you with a copy of the recording. Thank you for attending this event today, and we look forward to seeing you at more career services events in the near future. Thank you again, Eddie, for your time today.
Thank you very much for the invitation. I appreciate that.
It was our privilege. Thank you so much for being here with us today. Everybody have a great day.
All right.
Bye-bye.